Hi my loves, how's it going? How you guys doing? Welcome if you're new, welcome back if you've seen me before. It's finally time for a Beauty A to Z project plan. I'm at least 1 month behind. I'm not exactly sure which number update this is. I don't know if this is number 2 or number 3, but it's something along those lines. Last month I wasn't able to do an update, and I wasn't able to do it for most of my other projects anyway, and that is purely because July was very hectic. We've had loads of heat waves. We've also been quite unwell. When I say me, I mean both my dad and me, and it was like first we worried about him, and then we had like a little bit of time to recover and recuperate, and then I became really ill, so I never really got time to do anything that I really wanted. Also, there wasn't really much for me to update you guys on anyway. Like, I did make progress on most of my skincare products, but when it came to makeup, I didn't really get much use out of a lot of things because I didn't really get many makeup days. A lot of it was just down to not being well and then having loads of heat waves and the weather being so hot where it was just really uncomfortable to do makeup. Anyway, I have got a few things that I'm really excited to share with you guys, and there are 2 things I'm decluttering because they have expired. So it's really time for me to do an update for this, so let's just get into that. I did forget to mention, if you guys like watching panning content, make sure you subscribe to me, like this video, and you can also check me out on my other social medias. On TikTok and Instagram is the only other places that I really do post quite regularly, and my name is @DAILYWITHDILS as well. But like I said in the intro, I do have a couple of things that are empties, and I can't wait to share them with you guys. So the first thing I'll talk about is my one and only body product, which is this Nivea Invisible deodorant roll-on. I've had this for some time, but I also kind of flew through this as well because I was using it so much, and I tend to use that anytime I've done a shower, and then any other day apart from that I will be using this. I'm not yet done with this, but that's what I then use for the most of the other times, only because I'm not really a fan of those and I really want that to also get done. But I did use this a lot, and there was a lot of shower days because it was so hot. You don't really have a choice. You kind of had to get into the shower because the whole day you'd been spent. If you spent the whole day sweating, you're more tired, whereas at least once you get out of the shower, you'll feel fresh, you're cleaner, and you feel a bit more alive again. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, that's one done. Then I have 2 nail polish roll-ups. So one of them is this one from Large London. So I did have, I believe, 6 uses before, or at least by last update, and then I've used it 4 times as a top coat on top of this. It's technically not a top coat, but I use this for the shimmer aspect of it to make this look really nice and pop it off. So I've had 4 new uses, which takes me out of 10 total uses, and I believe last update I had at least used this once, and again I've had 4 new uses since that point, and I can now call these both done because I hit my goals. This was to use 10 times and this was to use 5 times. I never really thought I'd get to this point, but over the last like 2 and a bit months, I did at least get my, well, I did have like days where I was doing my nail polish, and that was majority of the time it was in June, and then the first part of July before things just went to like, I don't know, the depths of hell. But yeah, at least I can roll these 2 out. I was supposed to paint my nails, but I never really got a chance to do so. But it's okay, maybe next time I'll get to do that. But yeah, at least I get to roll another 2 products out. And then I'm running out both of these makeup empties. So well, they're not empties, but I've hit my goal on these. So a lot of things in here are just 5 use products because I have so many other project plans and so many things I kind of want to focus in on. That's why I don't want to like make this too heavy in terms of, or like difficulty wise, because I knew that I have a certain capacity or like a certain extent that if it gets to that level, I will then stop panning for a length of time, and I don't want to do that because there is an aspect of panning that is very useful, and I want to stay on track to make sure that panning is still useful to me rather than being a burden. So to make it easy, I just said 5 uses. So I think last update I had 1 use, and now I've had 4 new uses since then. I'm also wearing it today on my waistline. It's kind of hard to see, but I have been getting use out of this. I used it yesterday, and then last time I used it was today to kind of like roll it out because I mean I was so close anyway, so it just kind of makes sense to use it to have it done, to get at least that I can call an empty for the sake of this update. I also rolled in a blush, and this is from Flower Nurse. This is called Blue Moonlight, and this is what it's looking like now. I don't really think there's much of a difference. The only thing is some of the imprint is like kind of gone down. So I've had 3 new uses since last update. One of the uses was yesterday, one of them was today, because it just kind of made sense to roll this out. Also, I was at a point where I had so many blushes in my project pans that it became a little bit too much to sort of try and manage all of them. On top of that, I also really want to pan 1 if not 2 blushes by the end of the year, and in order for me to do that, I kind of need to be done with other blushes, or at least find a way to move them out, and that's exactly what I've done, I've now been able to move out a third blush within this project pan. So this is the first one. Sorry, this is blush 3, but I had 2 in my Beauty A to Z. I've now managed to get all of this removed, which means that the actual amount of blushes that I specifically have goals on has decreased, and there is a big chance I could then hit that goal. But yeah, I've had 5 uses out of this in total. This is a bit of a difficult blush to use because there's a lot of like blue, and the blue does actually show up as blue. So I've tried to mainly use this as a way to tone down any blushes if they've been a bit too like warm that I don't really like. But I don't really feel like this is something that I would get done anyway or finish, because it's pink on one side, blue on the other side, so it's a bit of a difficult blush to use regardless. And when I do use this, if I want to use a pink, I have to specifically focus in on the pink part of this. So it's not an easy blush for me to use, but I'm so glad I've managed to hit my total uses on this, which is 5, and I can now put this away for some time. Now we might as well talk about the 2 products that I'm decluttering. Recently, I say recently, but in the last couple of weeks, I have been decluttering through my makeup, and I just wanted to downsize to some capacity because I feel like I have too much stuff and I don't really get use out of everything that I own. But aside from that, I knew that there would be products that are expired anyway, so it kind of just makes sense every now and again that I do go through my collection just to remove anything that expired, so that I know that everything else I have is still pretty good, and it just helps keep everything in check. Also, it reminds me of everything that I own and have, and then keeps my inventory up to date. But also it just, I get to get rid of things rather than holding on to them for a long period of time. So within this project pan, there were 2 products, and I didn't want to get rid of them just yet because I feel like it kind of made sense to keep them. However, they both stink and they're both gross, so I'm going to be decluttering them. One of them is the KVD Scorpris liquid lipstick in this blue. I mean, it goes really well with the top that I'm wearing, and I was really tempted to use one on top, but it stinks really bad, and I don't really want to use this for that reason. I don't mind to a certain level, but when it's like so strong, then it has to go for me. Then I can't, like, I just can't do it. And it also, sometimes some products will start to burn, and the last thing I want is like burns on my face, on my lips, because that would be quite upsetting to see. But yeah, unfortunately I am going to be decluttering this one. And the other product is this gloss. Now I had actually used this a few times, however I felt like the more I used it, the more of that weird expired scent I was noticing, and I didn't like it because obviously my lips are so close to my nose. Aside from that, it was just very, very strong, and I felt like sometimes my lips felt a bit weird with using this product. So that again is a sign for me to just let this go. Like I said, I had used this one quite a few times. This one, unfortunately, I never actually got around to using this year, which is kind of sad because I really wanted to get some use out of this, but it's fine. It is what it is. But yeah, I'm going to be decluttering both these. I have actually got replacements, and I might as well show you guys what they are next because it kind of just makes sense. Initially, I wasn't planning on replacing these products that were expired, but then I thought, no, it kind of feels like cheating if I then only have 48 products that I'm going to be trying to pan rather than having the 50, and I really want to give a go to try and have these 50 products used up. Now I had to dig deep and dig hard because again, I'm already doing 2 other project pans, and then there's always products that I want to pan that are not within those project pans, so I kind of had to think hard about what I wanted to do, and I came to the conclusion that I'm going to be rolling in these 2 products. Now there is bits of blue in the wings on this lip gloss, and then the logo, for me, it looks like it's a blue pink. No, it's like a blue purple. But I'm going to just, for the sake of this, I'm going to roll this in because I don't have anything else that has blue. I don't have any, apart from perfumes, I don't want to roll a perfume in. There's skincare products, but I don't really feel like rolling that in either. And when it comes to actually makeup, I wanted to make it as easy as possible for myself. And I mean, this is not technically blue, but it kind of, for me, it fits in the category. So I'm going to roll this in, and that could just be me being colorblind, but I'm going to just do it for that. I don't really care. This gloss, I mean, ideally I want to use both of these products up completely, but as long as I can get like use out of them to some capacity, that's fine. I will be marking this on a notebook so I can see the progress of this going down, but I do have a feeling I will actually get a use out of this quite a lot because it's a really beautiful lip pencil, and with this actual gloss I do think I'll get some decent use out of this. I just don't know if I'll be able to fully use it up because I do have quite a few products and quite a few other lip products, even within this project pan anyway. Now, as always, I kind of show like the skincare, like non-makeup products that I have within this project pan first, and I'll go ahead and show you my makeup products. So I have got quite a few products that I'm using at the minute, and I've made different levels of use on all of them. So the first thing I'll just talk about is this Shore deodorant, and I think I've got about maybe here, and I think by next update I should be done with this product. I don't like these, I much prefer a roll-on, and once this is done I will just stick to my roll-on deodorants because I don't like this, and I feel like sometimes they kind of just feel a bit itchy, or like there's a discomfort there. So yeah, I don't really think these are for me, but because there's such little left, I might as well use this up. I have this moisturizer that I've been using on and off, and this is the Purita Hydro Wave Deep Sea Cream. I actually do like this. I think it's not too heavy, but it's a nicely moisturizing, and I can actually feel my skin just feeling softer and it feeling hydrated. I actually really like this, and this is something that I could see myself buying in the future for sure. But I would say I'm probably about like here. It's really hard because I can't actually see through this even after trying to shine a light through. Yeah, you can't really see how much is in here, but I will probably get this done in the next like 4-ish months maybe, depending, because I have quite a few opened products and I kind of bounce around between them and just see how it goes. But I do actually like this, and I do use this fairly often. Another moisturizer is this one from Paula's Choice, and this is the Berry Repair Advanced Moisturizer. I feel like this one burns my skin unless I use it with loads of products underneath it first, meaning if I use a toner, serum, and then go in with this before I use my other moisturizer, then I'm usually fine. But if I just use this alone or just with one product, there's not enough, like, I guess, barrier to it, and I feel like that can kind of make my skin feel like it's sort of burning or itching. So I don't really like that feeling, but I have found that as long as I use it with other products and then layer this on top, then I'm fine. So I have made progress on this. I would probably say with the way it feels, it's probably about like here, meaning if I focus on this for the next even like 2 months, this could be a product that is easily finished. And I do have another Barrier Repair moisturizer within this project pan that I would love to move over to. And yeah, there is progress. Unfortunately, there isn't a way for you to see through this, which is kind of sad, but it would be nice to have this done over the next 2 months at most. I have this Bioma Phytomucin Glow Serum, and I've used this on and off as well. You can use this both in the morning and evening, but where in the mornings it's been, or during the day, it's been so intensely hot, and even during at night time it can get really hot as well. We've had like, I don't know, like 5 heat waves already. Even in like the UK, it's been a lot, and I feel like this product it's a bit heavy, so I've had to avoid using this on a lot of days. Whereas today the temperature is a lot cooler, and I could get away with using this at night time. But again, it's just been, with the weather's been really intense and difficult, this has not been something that I'll prioritize at all, because the last thing I want is really heavy skincare on my face and then I'm sweating as it is, and then it's just irritating me more and more. I think this will probably be here till like sort of like maybe November, December times, just because they've told us that we've got another massive heat wave coming in September. So I don't know how that's going to look like and how hot it will be, but I will try and use this as and when I can, especially when it's a bit more cooler. Like, it's not even that cool, but the temperature is like below 25, which is still a lot more manageable. Anything over 25 just gets too much, and we've had temperatures that are like 35, 36. Yes, it's been a lot. But yeah, this product, when it's that hot, just has to be avoided because it's too heavy. This toner from APLB, I've actually really been enjoying it. I feel like it's so nice in the skin, that it's soothing, but it's like it absorbs so fast. So this is the Glutathione Niacinamide Facial Toner, and I've actually made a big job. I mean, that's 2 months worth of progress. However, whenever I have used this, I've loved it. And there are days where I don't do, like, I will skip a lot of my skincare steps in the morning and just chuck on sunscreen because it's so hot, and I just want like as little product on my face as possible. And at night time, depending on what products I'm using, I then end up skipping this anyway. That being said, I think when sort of like from October, things will kind of go back into some form of normalcy. At least hopefully the weather will be like more normal to what's typical in the UK, and I think I will be okay to then go ahead and just use my skincare as and how I want it to be. I really like this, and I do think that this is another product that I will be buying again and again because it's just so soothing. It's so quick to absorb, which is shocking, but I also like how nicely it sits under any product that I've used, and I feel like it does actually help with my breakouts because it does have niacinamide in there too, which I really like, but it does help calm any breakouts I've had, which I really appreciate. So yeah, I really like using this. This will probably be here for maximum 2 months because that's about the progress I've made here, and then that should be done. But yeah, I really like this and I would recommend this one actually. Another like tonerish product is this Vita Baby hygiene cleansing water. So I just use this as a way to like refresh or like rehydrate my skin after washing my face in the bathroom, because I feel like by the time I come back into my room I sometimes can get distracted, so I just add this on to allow the rest of my products to sort of sit nicely. This product that's in here is just decanted from here, and I just fill this up as and when I need it. So this product is, I would say it's about, the way it's feeling is just under halfway, so maybe February time this might be done, but I do use this fairly often. It's just obviously when it's been so hot I've kind of avoided a lot of my skincare steps, so I've like neglected this product. But when the temperature goes back to what we normally have in the UK, I don't really think that's gonna happen due to climate change, but we'll see. But when we do get some more cooler weather and I can go ahead and use my routine properly, I'll probably get a lot more use out of this, and I will see. But I have like filled this up at least 3 times since the last update. I rolled in this compact full of 10 sheets which have 4 stickers each on them, and I tried to keep a hold of my empty sheets to update you guys. However, I felt like that was a really silly thing for me to have done, because I tend to forget and then I tend to just recycle those sheets. So what I'm going to do now is just update you guys with how many sheets I have left, which is literally just these 2. So I've used up all the blue ones, I've got this one left which is just the greens, and then I have the pinks, and then that's it. Then everything from this compact is done. I have loads of these, like loads. But the reason I actually pulled this in was because I felt like I was oftentimes neglecting these stickers, and I kind of need them because otherwise I start picking my skin. So they are useful to me, but it was just a case of me forgetting or not bothering to sort of add these into or like into my routines, just so I can avoid picking my skin. So when I rolled it into the project, it kind of forces me to use it, or at least pay attention to it to some level. But these are the only 2 sheets I have left in here. I've got so many aside of this project, so I'll see. But it would be nice to at least empty out this, because then I know that I've used up everything from here, and I've got less stuff now than I did at the start of the year, which is also always a positive for me. But yeah, I can't wait to refill this and come back up. The 2 non like skincare related products is this one nail polish from Collab Cosmetics, and this was the Badge the Brow collab. This is shade number 2. It's like this like bluey green nail polish. I actually really like this. I think it's a stunning shade. I've used this once more since the last update, which means I've got 2 out of 5 uses in total, and I believe I used it around my cousin's 40th surprise party, which was quite a few weeks ago. I think that was sometime like early July, I feel like. So yeah, I got 1 use out of this product since then, which is nice. But I haven't really been painting my nails like I was supposed to, and then I never got around to doing it. So that's something I need to kind of like bring back into doing, just because it helps me like maintain and like also clean up my nails. But yeah, 1 use isn't the worst, but at least there is use with that. The one perfume that I have in this project pan is this one from Davidoff, and it's one of their cool water ones. So as you can hopefully see through there, I don't know if you guys are even able to see anything. There is a light, so it might be a bit tricky to see, but I made use. There's quite a bit of a dip between that last use and from here. I've been getting more into using this product because I feel like rather than holding on to it and letting it kind of go off, which will be most likely the case for this product, I've just been using it because it's better for me to use it up and at least still enjoy the scent. Whereas if it then gets expired, even with this project pan, it's going to annoy me, and that doesn't make sense either. And it'll be nice to have 1 less perfume anyway, at least have 1 less perfume because I've used it up, rather than having to waste it as like a room spray or like a bathroom spray or like a fabric spray. So yeah, I've been just trying to try and get more use out of this, but it will be more difficult because the bottle kind of gets bigger as it goes to the bottom. So I will see how much progress I can make. It will probably be slower because again, I have so many perfumes and different product pans I'm trying to use, but at least there is a progress mark that I could have made since last update, which is always nice to see. First up from the makeup portion of this is this ABH Cosmos palette. I had 3 uses at last update and I've got 4 new uses, which takes me up to 7 out of 25. I don't think that's too awful considering that there was a lot of other eye products or eyeshadows that I've been focusing on. There's not really much progress to sort of visibly see, but I have made a dent, or at least progress, in quite a few different products. I mean, there is like a dip going on in these 2 shades. That one I used the other day and I didn't like it. I used these 2 the other day, I didn't like that either. And my goal is still to hit 75 uses. I mean, the other goal I had was, if I don't hit 75 uses, the whole palette was to use it up completely, but I feel like it's definitely going to be easier to hit like 75 uses in this palette regardless. But I have decided that when I was doing my palette declutter is I like some of the shades from here and not all of them, and like that one's really patchy, not really a fan of these two shades, and also didn't really like these two here. So rather than decluttering the whole palette or keeping it for the sake of like a whole thing, I want to depot the shades, but I want to turn this into a magnetized palette because I really like the cover of this, and I feel like for it being Cosmos, like this could have been taken into any sort of direction. So what I'm going to do is once I've hit my usage on all of these or my goals on these, I will literally magnetize this palette, and then I will bring in the shades that I kind of want to keep in here, but then I've got other depotted shades from other palettes that I can just add in here and kind of make my own version of it, or at least what I would think of with like a Cosmos palette. I mean, it does still make sense to some extent, but I feel like some of the mattes are like not that great and they're patchy, and I don't like that. Like I'm hardly ever going to use a shade like that. I hate this, not really fan of this, didn't really like that either, and even these two, they're not really that great. So yeah, it doesn't really make sense for me to hold on to the whole palette, but I also don't want to just get rid of it because there are things in here that I do like. The next product is another palette, and this is from Colourpop, but this is the On Cloud Blue palette, and this is what it looks like. So there is some like slight depth forming in here, but it's still really hard to see. So even if I put this picture here or this palette here, and then I put a photo here of the palette when I first sort of like had this in here, there wouldn't be much use. But I've had only 4 new uses. The goal is to hit 50 uses. I don't know if that is possible looking at this now. I don't even know how many months are left, so I need to sort of calculate that, and then I need to sort of like try and make sure that I divide up the uses so that I focus on this palette that many times each month. So because I've only used this 4 times, I need to see how many months there are and then divide the rest of the uses by those many months, and use this palette that many times as like a minimum. And I need to do that every single time I do an update to make sure that if some months I've used this more, I can then like adjust the rest of them. But if I've not used this palette much, then need to readjust the total and kind of go from there. I will see with this product, we will definitely I think I can get use out of this because I have loads of other blues, especially shimmers that I did roll in, and I feel like some of the mattes in here I can get use out of with those products. So in some ways it shouldn't be too difficult to hit 50 uses, but then sometimes I'm thinking 50 uses is still quite a lot, especially considering we only just hit 4 uses, and this is the 4th look that I've done with this palette. So yeah, it's a bit tricky, but I do still have, I think, like 7 months, maybe 8, I don't really remember, but there's still plenty of time I feel like to get a good chunk of use out of this. But yeah, I do need to sort of like start prioritizing that palette a little bit, I think. I rolled in these 2 Super Shock shadows because the packaging is blue with both of these, and also the shades are actually blue. And since last update, I have 1 new use, taking me two total uses for each of these products, which isn't the best, but it's also not the worst considering I at least got some use out of these. However, when I did use these, I realized that this has become really like, it's dry now, so it's becoming a little bit difficult to use. And I do think that when I'm done with my usage with this product, I'll probably just declutter it because I have so many of the blues that I can use, and it's fine. I'm not really going to miss it that much. And even with this one, like this is a blue that I wouldn't use all over the lid, I don't feel. And even if I was to use it, I just use it as like sort of like a wing situation. So that's how I've been using it in the two uses that I did use it with. So yeah, it's not really the greatest, but I feel like at least because I only have 3 more uses with these products, even if I just had 3 makeup days next month and I just use these products with one of those 2 palettes, that will help me get closer to just having these rolled out. And I think I might do that by focusing on these 2 products before my next update, so at least next time when I sit down with you guys, I can tell you that both of these are done. I have this liquid eyeshadow from Glisten Cosmetics, and I've had 1 new use since the last update, which takes me to 2 total out of 5, which isn't too bad. I used this yesterday and I really like this formula. This is what the product is looking like. I regret not taking a picture of my makeup yesterday because I feel like it actually turned out really, really nice, and it would have been really nice. This also dries down very quickly, and I do feel like of the liquid eyeshadow formulas, this one is really nice. I could see myself buying more of these in the future. I am currently on a no-buy, and that no-buy I've extended from, it was originally first supposed to end in the month of August, so right at the end of August, but then I thought actually no, I'm going to continue on until the end of October, which would have been the 31st. However, now I've decided to just continue on for another month and up until November. So the end of November is when I'll be done with this no buy. However, I will then move from a no buy to a low buy, and then only buy things that I feel like I sort of really need, or like occasionally I'll buy things that I like have been really interested in, but I've allowed myself to wait for a set period of time, and then I can go ahead and buy them. But I feel like these products from Glitter and Cosmetics will probably end up being on that list because the formula is amazing and these are really fun to use. But yeah, 2 out of 5 like uses in total isn't too bad, especially with a product that I do enjoy using whenever I do sort of remember. But yeah, I feel like this is another product that I can easily hit my total use on, and I do feel like if not next month, then definitely the month after that I will be done with this. I rolled in this powder from Collab. The goal is to actually just use up the whole thing, but I wanted to see how many uses it takes to get to that point. Since last update, I've only used this once more, and there isn't really a way to sort of see progress update on here, which is fine. And I also don't really think I took a picture last time, so that's on me. But I feel like I'm quite close to almost getting to use it all the time. My current powder, I have probably like 2 weeks makeup progress left in there, maybe less than that if I do my makeup more often. I feel like the most it should really take me is a week, but then I have been using less powder because I feel like sometimes when you use too much powder, it can make your makeup look a bit more cakey depending on the foundation that you use too. So about 1 to 2 more weeks worth of makeup and that should be done. And as soon as that is done, I get to roll this in as like a full-time pressed powder that I use with my makeup, and then I can then bring this in more often with updates for you guys, and we can see like a dip and a pan progress and then a pan expanding progress too, so that we'll get to that eventually. But I think by next update I should have this rolled in to my main like makeup collection, or at least my go-to makeup products that I use on a day-to-day basis. I rolled in quite a few highlighters as well within my various project pans, so sometimes I feel like that was really silly, but the goal was only to hit these like 10 uses on these highlighters, so I'm not too worried. Since last update on this highlighter, I've had 4 new uses, and I don't have a before or after picture, so we're just gonna go with what this looks like now. I don't really get that much use out of these, but there is a dip going on here which is really nice, and I'm at 6 total uses out of 10, meaning 4 more uses and I can roll this out of my project. I do think that'd be quite easy to do because I feel like 4 uses, if I did use the product 4 times in the last like 2 months, I can probably hit 4 uses by the next update because it's not that difficult to use, and it's a nice product to use, especially with like blue eyeshadow, just because it's fun. Even if I only use it in my inner corner, that still counts as a whole use. So yeah, 6 out of 10 uses, not terrible, but I feel like by next update this should be a rollout. I rolled in this Hourglass palette. This is the Lotus palette from I think 2024, and the reason I sort of rolled it in was because I was worried that I wouldn't get much use out of this palette because it's quite on the deep set. However, I found that it works really well if I just mix in all the blush and highlight shades together by swirling my brush around all 4 of these, and then with these 2 just swirl my brush around them and I can use it as a bronzer. And honestly it works, it does the job, and that's the best way I found for me to use this. Another eye pencil that I've got some use out of is this one from Colourpop, and this is the shade Prance. I've had 2 new uses in this since last update, but I don't want to roll this up just because I feel like this product is not going to be able to roll back down. So this is what the shade looks like. It's actually very nice. That's what it looks like swatched on my hand, and it's a really fun one to use whenever I use that Colourpop palette as well, and that's how I've gotten the 2 uses out of this. It is really nice pencil. I like the Colourpop formula because it's creamy, but it also sits really nicely and it doesn't like start disappearing as well. So I really like this formula, and I'm going to try and just downsize or at least use up the eye pencils that I have so I can eventually buy the full set from Colourpop, and I'm going to avoid buying just like random bits and pieces here and there so that I can then buy myself the full set of all the shades that I sort of want. But yeah, 2 uses out of 5 isn't too bad. I've got so many eye pencils in this project pan, so it's nice to have use out of some of these. The last 2 products are both lip products, and I'll talk about the lip oil first because I marked this on the actual packaging. So this is from Blend Bunny Cosmetics, and I don't know if you can sort of see that, but that's where the product was last month and that's where it is now. One thing I like about this is that as the product goes down, you can kind of see it because it's like clear, and you can kind of see the product going down, and it's nice to sort of compare it to how much use I got from last update to like current day, and it's definitely a bigger jump in use. However, this is another like neglected product. I don't like the doe foot on this. I feel like it feels really weird on my lips, and I don't like that feeling of it because it's kind of like a bit on the drier side because the product doesn't pick up everywhere. So literally the product on this just picks up on the tip rather than the part that is actually supposed to be used on your lips. So that's where the actual product gathers, whereas it's supposed to sort of gather, as you can see on here, and it doesn't really do that. So I just take the tip and like put a couple of dots on, and then I'll just like blend it in, and it'll give me a bit more of like a deeper look that I'm going for, and sometimes makes it a little bit more grayer, which is kind of nice. But yeah, I've got some use out of this. I think I will probably get this on closer to the end of this project plan because it's like slow progress. But yeah, I've still got a long way to go with that product. The last product is this lipstick from Flower No. So this is what it looks like. There isn't that much in here. Actually, no, there is still quite a bit of product in here. That's still quite a bit, but I feel like this is such a creamy lipstick that it wouldn't take me that long to use it if I started to use it on a regular basis. But the reason I want to show you guys this product is because I've actually made progress in here, and that's the amount of progress I made. So it's not the biggest amount, but there is still something, which is really nice to see. I feel like this product will be here for a while just because it's another lipstick I want to use up first before I kind of focus on this one, and this one's a lot more pinkier than the other lipstick. So yeah, because I have so many lip products scattered across different project pans, so many highlighters, so many blushes, it can sometimes be a bit difficult to like try and focus in on. That's all the products for this update. I feel like when I get to the halfway point with the time frame in this project plan, I will then bring everything in to kind of recap what's left, and then when I get down to 25 products that are left in this project plan, I will do another update to sort of show you guys what we have remaining, and if I need to then refocus on something else instead. I do feel like by next update there should be at least 3 more products that are rolling out, and those should just be products that are either like that have like usage goals that are up to like 5, because I feel like that's still a lot easier to sort of manage and do. With the other products and skincare products, I don't know how long they will take. Some of these are definitely going to be here for a long run, but that's everything for this update. This is such a long update. It can be so much to go through all these products, but yeah, I feel like I've made some decent progress on these project plan regardless. And I know like last month was really weird, but I've been trying to like get progress wherever I can with what I can from this project plan. But hopefully next month I can do a few more rollouts. I'm just a bit sad that these 2 products are expired because I was actually really looking forward to counting these as used up or empties, or at least hitting the usage goal on a product like this. But that's okay, at least I've got other products that I rolled in instead. That is everything for today. I will catch you next week with my inventory of the year, like mid-year, how much I had at the end of June. So like from the 1st of July, what my inventory looks like, and I'm so excited to share that with you guys. So stay tuned for that if you're interested. But that's everything for today. I'll catch you next week. Bye.